I'm Anne, co-host of Transparency in Teaching, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Hey, welcome back. Steve here. I got an awesome episode for you today. Will and Josh are back. That's right. They're from the HiTech Podcast. And over the last couple of years, we've done several collaborations where we're working on different holiday-themed shows and a special summer episode and all that. And we have a blast. We have a lot of fun. They're great to talk with. You got to go to their website and check out all the cool stuff that they do and listen to the different episodes of their podcast. You'll learn all kinds of cool stuff about technology and using it in your workplace and in your daily, daily chores of life, which is really cool. Well, we've got a special for you. It's a Christmas special, and these guys are awesome. We had a blast, and by the way, even if Will is a Phillies fan, and at least Josh is forgiven because he may be from the area up there, but he's not into sports stuff. He's actually a Star Wars fan, so he's all forgiven there. But we had a blast, and I'm glad you're here for this special episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing, and Merry Christmas to you. Enjoy the holidays. Have fun. Oh, by the way, before you go, there's a couple ways you could help out the podcast. Here's some of them. Tell a friend, share links. Go to my website and leave a review and subscribe. And how about 3, click on the link on my website homepage to buy me a coffee. And by doing this, you could donate $1 or $2 to help me address the costs associated with producing the podcast. What do you think? You're awesome. Enjoy the show.
But that got us thinking, like, what do you got to get into the gifts of, like, oh, what's the top? What's the top gift? What's our favorite gifts we've received? And that's where we are with this episode today. The three of us have curated a few options of some of the gifts we've received and things we've liked over the years. And then we're going to kind of negotiate and compromise, hopefully, to rank order the list. So, folks, by the end of this episode, you will know the top tier gift to go get.
It's the Education Podcast, your favorite show, with lots of groovy guests and they share what they know. So crank it up to 10 and let your neighbors know that here's another show with Dr. Steve Milletto. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12. With Dr. Steve Milletto.
Ho, ho, ho. What a merry and happy holidays from this episode of the HiTech Podcast. You have your regular hosts with a little bit of holiday cheer. Right, Josh? We've got the red, the green, the lights.
We got red, green. We got all the stuff. As we have for the last 2 weeks, we are in the Christmas vibes here on the HiTech Podcast,
And we're coming up towards Christmas itself. That's our traditional holiday for us. We love it. It's next week. But, just getting in the spirit here and enjoying all of the fun visuals. I just love when I give Josh a task. I'm like, hey, could you make some like cool visual things like the Halloween episode this year? Freaking amazing. And then this one also great. But I don't see any Canva. Canva does its work, but I just need like a little holiday hat on your stormtrooper or something.
Oh,
I'll do that again in post.
That. Yeah, that's your job. You got to take care of that. Add that in post. Or never mind. That's what we say to Chris, even though it's not his job. Chris, add that in post.
Chris, please, thank you. No,
thank you.
That's just me. Chris, remind me to do it. There we go. Perfect. Folks, this is episode 177 of the HiTech Podcast. As usual, you want to know all of the beautiful, wonderful things about us, like our socials, etc. We'd appreciate and love you following us across the world for all those things, like HiTech Podcast or HiTech Pod in Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, blah, 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 all the good stuff. But most importantly, even above all those links and handles where you can like and subscribe and the good things, head over to our website, hitechpod.us. All the links are always there. All of our episodes are always there. All of our affiliates are always there. The good things are at the HiTech Podcast website, which is hitechpod.us. So check that out and then go follow, subscribe, like, reshare, repost, retweet, all the good things. Yeah. If you have any questions, ideas, you want to be on next year's holiday episode, right? We've got a little bit of a theme going on here with Steve Miletto joining us. That'll be our guest in a moment. We're very excited for Steve. We love having our good friend on. Too bad he's a Braves fan. But if you want to be on, you want to send us an email at inbox@hitechpod.us. If you have an idea for, I don't know, Labor Day or Easter next year, or just, even the holiday.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
Let's hit up Groundhog Day. I mean, there's a lot of holidays.
You just
I'm
gotta drop
surprised
it.
we haven't done a Star Wars themed episode for May 4th yet. I feel like
Write it down, and then we gotta have Martinez. There we go. We gotta have the May 4th Star Wars episode. We might even just specially release it on that day with Steve Martinez. I have to find
either
out
way, if you'd like to be on one of those episodes, or just a general episode, doesn't have to be holiday related.
General episode.
Nope, nailed it. Press up an inbox at HiTechPod.us. That's our email. People still use it. It's a thing.
Yep. So that's all the beautiful, fun, whatever, regular intro stuff. This is episode 177. We're very excited. It is the last episode for the year. It is our holidayest holiday episode. We've been on the theme of Christmas and Techmas this year. Hopefully you've been enjoying all the different content that's going out.
Hopefully you're prepared to help your family learn technology over Christmas,
Yep. We've given you everything you need. Just follow along.
Great. Put the batteries in. It'll be awesome. It'll be great.
Yeah. It's just fun. It's wrapping up another year of the podcast. It's wrapping up this season of the podcast. Just all sorts of good with this episode, which is why we can't help but bring you one of our favorite guests. I'll say it. He's up
there.
I love all of our guests.
Steve is up there. Yeah.
Steve might even have the most episode credits. Let's put it there, right?
That is true. Steve's been on now that he's on for holiday episodes, and we did a summer thing. Yep. Steve showed up more on a reoccurring basis, which says a lot. That speaks a lot of how much we like Steve, because he is a Braves fan, and I could care less. But Will is really passionate about sports ball.
Josh made the joke.
I made a sports joke. Look at me.
Unfortunately, I happen to be wearing the Braves color this evening, but that's just for the holiday spirit, Steve. It's not for your
Aren't
team.
the Phillies also red?
True. Yes, both teams do have red. But the Braves are the red team. I don't know.
They're the red team. Okay.
They're the red team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I don't know.
I've learned something new every day. Now I can identify them for all the sports ball. Oh wait, real quick joke before Steve comes in. I started at another job, as Will knows, this week, and I got from my last job, I got a free Pirates cooler. And so I brought it in on my first day, and I didn't actually do this, but Sam told me I should try to convince them all that I like sports now. In the several months I've been gone, that I became a big sports fan. So that just made me think of it. Sorry, that's a weird aside. I didn't even end up doing it. I was going to, and then I just lost the energy.
You know what sport the Pirates play?
They do. They play baseball. I know.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
I'm not that far removed. Okay. I just, I know what it is. I just don't like it.
That's true. It's fair. That's fair. All right, folks. This is going to be a fun one. I'm not going to spoil it because it's just going to be a good time. But we're going to turn it over to Steve here in just a moment. He's going to join us. We're just going to have a uproarious amount of laughter and joy. So, do I got anything? Did I miss anything? Should we roll?
I think that let's do it. Let's roll. Let's get to Steve.
Let's do it. Over to the Golden Pipes. And we're here. We're ready to go. We're having a lot of fun already. I wish we could record prep, folks, because there's always plenty of laughs. But thank you. Steve is here. Steve Miletto is joining us from Teaching Learning Leading K12 podcast. And we always share our materials over to him. So maybe this is on his podcast too. Thanks, folks, for having us. But we'll see if he wants that. I suspect we'll send it over nonetheless. But this is the holiday episode. Thank you again for joining us, Steve. We've spruced things up for you this year.
Yeah. I love all the decorations for you, Steve.
I love it. I love the way you decorate. Bringing me back. This is very cool. So, and I most definitely will appear on my podcast. So this is good stuff. I appreciate it, and it's looking forward to having our now annual
second annual, folks.
Yes, I like that.
We last year I put a little Santa hat on Josh's stormtrooper in his background. Yeah, but this year we brought real hats. Steve brought one I've got one. The biggest problem with mine, Steve, is I think it looks a lot like the Chiefs. Like it's like kind of like cheese. And it's not. It's Cheers, folks. It's Cheers. I'm not a Kansas City Chiefs fan. It's Cheers and
I
Holiday.
just figured that out because I was a little concerned about that, and so now I totally understand.
That was also my first thought when I saw it. I was like, sports. You know,
Another sports team. Hey, this is the first time live, though. Should we take a moment of silence together for the lost season that we both suffered this past year? I mean, what a tough time for the Eagles and the not the Eagles, the Phillies and the Braves.
You got that right. Well, we're already starting out the season again. We're not even in the new season. We got another one who's injured. It's like, stop. All right, stop. All right. I'm pretty. I mean, even Blooper got injured this season. I mean, it's like, what the heck? Bloopers are our mascot.
Bloopers,
I thought that was the guy's name. No. I don't know. I was like, what's the worst name ever? Bloopers?
Blooper,
yeah. You're like, sorry, son. You were a mistake. Blooper.
I mean, their mascot looks like it's a mistake. Whoa!
Hey, yes. At least he's not green, man.
We love Green. He's so he's present. He's visual. He's wonderful. We love the Fanatic. The Fanatic's my favorite part about sports. I love the Fanatic. He's like, and Gritty. Fanatic and Gritty are like the top tier of mascots.
I like the food.
You know, nice.
It's just hot take.
So what is a good food thing in your part of the world right there? If you like the food are we talking about the stadium or are we just talking about
I was talking about sports in general. You know, I don't go enough, Steve, to know what
he goes
food
for the
is
hot
good at
dogs.
each stadium. Yeah, I mean,
nice.
I'm always like, classic hot dog burger type of guy.
Nice.
You know, I made it sound like the stadium food is much better than other food. It's really not. I just like food. So like, you know, there's food at this event. So I'm like, hey,
that works.
Then exactly.
He'll come out to any Eagles game or whatever, any sports game if it's at the bar with wings and a beer. You know, like that's the way to get Josh out. Oh yeah, sure, come hang out.
I forget. That was probably around Christmas last year. It was like for some reason you guys were watching a game at a place near us called The Corner. And they specifically placed me at the seat on the table that was backwards to the TV.
Nice.
So the rest of them could all see the game. And I was just kind of like living my best life, eating wings, being like, what's going on, guys? Sports ball? I don't, you know.
That says a lot. That says a lot.
That's the whole thing. But guess what? I'm never sad about how my team did.
I can imagine that. A lot.
There's us with the sad vigil. All right, so last year on our first annual episode, we looked at some of the tech gifts you could give your friends, the techie things to give out. Well, this year a little bit of a transition. So we were thinking of like, we still got to stay on the tech thing, but I gotta get this hat off. It's too hot. It's too much. But one of my favorite gifts I've ever received was actually another holiday hat.
Nice.
I wear.
Nice.
This is promo, and thank you to my sister-in-law Casey. She gave this to me like 8 years ago. At this point, I don't even know. It's one of my favorite gifts. One of my favorite seasonal hats. Like I got this, it's warm. The mohawk, it's lovely. But that got us thinking, like, what do you got to get into the gifts of like, what's the top gift? What's our favorite gifts we've received? And that's where we are with this episode today. The three of us have curated a few options of some of the gifts we've received and things we've liked over the years. And then we're going to kind of negotiate and compromise, hopefully, to rank order the list. So folks, by the end of this episode, you will know the top tier gift to go get other people.
Yeah.
From
or that you should have got. There's a couple options that you maybe can't get anymore. I mean, maybe I guess eBay or Facebook Marketplace. So never mind. You know what? I'm wrong. This is the definitive tier list. It's whatever happens here. This is if you're not getting these.
This
things
is your
here,
Christmas shopping list.
Yeah, this is your Christmas shopping list right now.
I like that.
So, I mean, do we need any other prep or we should just jump into our screens here and get things up folks who are watching can see?
We bounce on in. Yeah. So those listening, Will and I will try to do our best to describe kind of what's going on. I'll describe every detail of what Steve does. so that you know. Uh,
Steve sit.
like
Steve
right now, he just
scratches
scratched
his
his
head.
hat. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But we'll try to do our best to subscribe. But again, totally encourage
Steve
you
dances.
and would push you to. Oh man, I'm going to regret this like immediately. We push you. Go check out the video at HiTechPod.us. Or our YouTube channel, whatever you want to do. But we're gonna present the screen here as it's called. Give me a
Gonna
give me
move
a
us out of the way,
second.
get us tucked into the corner
It's
here.
tucked into the corner over here. And here is our beautiful holiday rating scale. Now I want to describe this just for a second, okay? For those listening, I know that normally in the alphabet, A comes first, but you're like Will and I. And maybe Steve, I don't know, Steve, you played a good Japanese video game with a scale rating on it?
Not with a scale rating on it. Usually my Japanese video games are going blah 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 because I just died for the umpteenth.
Well, like
At least you tried.
Street Fighter. You ever heard of the game Street Fighter?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay. So they have this rating scale. You probably were like me though, and were just bad enough you never really saw it. But
That's pretty much it.
they have
He
a
didn't know it
rating
got to S.
scale. Yeah, so they have an S tier in these games, right? So that's what our scale is. S being, top of the line, and then E being kind of sad. We didn't go all the way down to F because it's Christmas. So that's kind of our options. So Steve, as the guest, we'll let you start. Which tech item would you like us
Pick
to talk
one.
about
Which
first?
one should we go for?
Pick one that you will. And actually, why don't we walk through each of our gifts before we?
Oh yeah, that's a great
let's
idea.
do that. So Steve, why don't you walk us through what you've given us here? Will and I will try to highlight it as you're going here.
Okay, well, I got serious and then non-serious. So
Perfect. We love it.
and just in case, I have my electric pencil sharpener over here that so
From the last episode we
From
did.
the
right?
last
No,
episode, yeah.
so I can always add other things too. But the first one that's really cool that it's amazing what technology has done for us to make it possible to have our own shows over the years. And I have a Rode Procaster, and I love that device. That's my favorite piece of technology because it allows me to make the sound better of my podcast, record things. I can plug different microphones into it. I can plug the phone into it. I can play music and sound effects and all kinds of good stuff. And I love my Procaster.
I love your Rode Procaster.
Yeah. I mean, Steve, if you're just looking to get, other podcast host gifts, this seems like a great, a great option. I mean, I don't know if you know any other podcast hosts, but just a thought.
I keep that in mind.
Just keep that in mind. There.
So that's the first one that I have on my list. Did you want me to keep going?
Yeah, let's just go down. We'll go down.
All right. So then there's a more serious one because I really like these headphones that connect through the bone in your head and they send the sound to the bone. And these are called Shocks. And what's really cool about them, and I'm pretty sure we're not sponsored by them, by the way, but
Not yet.
not yet. Hey, Shocks, I love these, and we would all love sponsorship. But I do, because a couple years ago, I lost the hearing in my right ear, and I have the ability with regular earphones. It's kind of dumb because you're just listening out of the one earphone.
One's just empty.
Yeah, so one's just empty. And with these on my ears, what happens is it kind of makes the sound feel like it's coming from. It's kind of like I'm hearing stereo, which is neat. And
Wow.
Oh, that's wild.
Fix out my brain, which is cool. But I like these things because I'm able to, first of all, I don't have a cord dragging everywhere. And,
Yep.
and second of all, it's just neat because I have, unless the song is recorded only in mono, and then I'm in trouble. But
And it just feels like half of your head is vibrating to the left.
Exactly. But it's I love these things. They're awesome, and it's a cool device that they've created. So the next one on my list is just really cool because it's what everybody needs, and it's a little device that you turn it on and it makes Spider-Man appear on your ceiling. So if I turned out a little Spider-Man everywhere, and as a Spider-Man fan, he has 3 different poses in here, and he's on my ceiling right now. And it's like,
are each of the poses different Spider-Man going, huh?
Yeah, like pointing at each other.
Exactly. It's well, no, but he's doing different things. He's flying through the air on his web and all that good stuff. And the web slinger lives again at night, and it's the perfect thing for a child who doesn't want to go to sleep but needs a nightlight and just annoys their parents. Go to sleep.
Now, I must know, Steve, did you find that at a yard sale? Did you actually just buy it?
No, this was actually given to me. This was a gift.
Okay.
Like Spider-Man, and they were like, check out this thing I found. And so this is a cool gift. And another gift that I have is everyone needs a Yoda. All right. And notice that he's starting to change color because I'm holding him. And for my listeners, you can't notice that, but he just changed a little bit to red, and then a little bit of blue will show up in a minute, and then white and all that sort of stuff. And Eddie. Anyway,
for kids these days, that's not Grogu. That's actually Yoda, and it's just a little doll version.
Yes, exactly. He says Yoda things. That's right. You have to explain that now, since it's no longer. Because in the beginning we all thought he was Baby Yoda, and it turned out not to be Baby Yoda. Oh my gosh!
Turns out he has a real name, and everybody was like, "Nah, Baby Yoda was better."
Yes, exactly.
Grogu, what is that?
I like Baby Yoda, but the point is that from time to time he decides when to speak, and he'll just scare.
Oh, really?
Yes, because all of a sudden he'll say something, and it's like the whole do not try the whole. Now I'm forgetting. Now I'm screwing up my words. What's the thing?
Do or do not. There is no try.
There you go.
There it is.
Yes, and he has a couple others that he says, but it's kind of neat. You can tap him and he'll change the colors and do things like that. But I like my little Yoda and to have him in the background.
For the listeners who can't see it, Steve just smacked Yoda on top of the head. So there's the describer for you.
Yeah, you lost your job a little bit there, Josh.
Oh, sorry. Well, we're sharing it. That's what being co-host means.
Sure. My bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
I love
So
it.
that's my last little piece of technology, and that was a gift also, and I very much like it, and cool stuff.
I love it. I also have a Spider-Man gift, but it's just a coffee mug. It's not technology. Well, the technology is a container for coffee, so I guess that's.
Yeah,
that's
that's a thing. That's tech.
It's like the pencil of technology. So
the pencil would be the pencil of technology, but it's it's fine.
Nice.
You want to go top to bottom, or should I bring mine in?
I'll walk through mine. I think.
All right.
Do this. So I took the whole tech of a decade thing a little bit differently than the rest of our crew did, so I actually picked things that were not from my current gifts. So I promise I'm not behind. So I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't remember all my gifts from childhood, so I was just like tech from the early 2000s.
There you go.
And the PlayStation 2 was the bomb when I was a kid. It was a great Christmas gift. I actually don't remember if I got a PS2 for Christmas or some other way, but I got one. And I played a lot of great games on that thing. A lot of Christmas gifts for PlayStation 2 games for me. I was a big PS2 fan. And as Will knows, and I think I've told him in the podcast a couple of times, when I had a PlayStation 1, I didn't have a memory card for a lot of different reasons. Those who might remember the PlayStations remember you needed a memory card to save. So I could never save my games, Steve. I've played Spyro, the first 3 levels of Spyro so many times. I can't even describe to you how many times it's been. So anyway, I finally got memory cards when I got the PlayStation 2, and I was like, I can save games. I can progress. This is the best thing ever. So, yeah.
Do you remember the feeling and the sound even of pressing these buttons, pressing the power button?
Yeah.
It was like, woo, and it gave a little sound effect. Woo,
and back then you were so excited when you pressed the button and the disc thing just came out on its own. And you're like, this is going to be amazing. And you place it in. You didn't have to open the weird flap and stick it in,
It's nice.
What I really remember about the PS2 that was so great too is that back then kids come around the campfire. Okay, for a second, let me tell you about the old days. When we play it online, I remember we needed an adapter to be able to play more than 2 people. There was like this big block that you just stick on the front of made by Mad Cats. I still don't remember what Mad Cats did, and you could stick it on.
PlayStation was just ahead of the Apple game with all the dongles, Like
That's true,
just had to have so many dongles to play your PlayStation.
Yeah, and then it didn't have a headphone jack. So you're right. Yeah, it's it was basically early Apple.
It didn't. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was
more advanced. Yeah, because Apple removed it. I like that.
It was ahead of its game. Now, speaking of Apple, okay. The next one.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, what's that? What's that hiding behind there? A special little friend.
Oh, an inferior. Okay, listeners, here's the deal. And it might surprise you. Will was one of the 5 people in the entire universe that used Zoom.
Hey, we had a club, and I was the president of all 5 of us, okay? So it was fine.
Nice. I like that.
Oh, the Zoom. No, but one of my favorite gifts, and it really actually wasn't a gift because I saved up for part of it, was a 32 gig iPod. I remember back then that was like revolutionary to me. It was like I can have 32 gigs of music on one device. And so I was so excited. So the iPod will forever go down in history to me as a great tech invention. And I think history would say, well, it was better than the Zune. Come on, you can't tell me the Zune was better than the iPod. That is the one device that there's no debate
here. I think this is a better take in my opinion. I was a Zune guy. It was my first thing. I bought my brother an iPod because he asked for it, but he was silly. But the Zune, it had like so much more panache. It had personality. Look at how white.
They call that a bad interface. They call that a bad interface. That's what that character was. Steve, we're not gonna actually rate the Zune because that was a stealth one coming in, but I have to know, Zune or iPod, where were you at?
Well, first of all, I have to say this. I have never met a Zune owner. All right. So it's a pleasure to meet you. I just want to point out that as a Zune owner, you are also a Phillies fan. So it goes together.
Oh, you got me.
But I have to tell you something real quick because I reached over here and found in my drawer.
What is that?
It's little, and I'm trying to remember. It's a SanDisk MP3.
Oh yeah, one of the MP3 players.
Yes.
Okay.
It's legit when it has the leather case on it. You know what I mean? Like the leather, like the leather attachment case. Yeah.
That was cool, man.
Did you put that on your belt, Steve?
It has the ability to do that. Yes. Velcro.
Oh man.
See, y'all are coming for me, but I'm about to rock your worlds, okay? I'm bringing one last honorable mention on screen because I literally hid that Zune behind the iPod so we could have this laugh, but I think it was before the Zune because Zunes and iPods were pretty expensive if you recall. I had this bad boy. Boom.
Oh, the
this
loading
is
screen.
I know.
What the crap is this?
This is called a Moby Blue, and it was my first MP3 player. It came with headphones. It came with headphones that you wore around your neck like a necklace, and it would plug into the top and connect to here. So you literally wore it around like a necklace, and it could take I think it was 16 gigs or something. So it held all of my music until I decided to update to the Zune world. So in the world of crazy MP3 players, this was my introduction.
Very nice. How big is that thing?
Smaller than this. I don't know.
Okay.
Like a half inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch square.
That's cool because I envisioned you with this like
a cube
around your neck,
like Flavor Flav necklace. You know what I mean? Like
a Rubik's cube just hanging from my neck.
There you go, a Rubik's cube. That's the Rubik's cube with music.
Oh man. Well, that's certainly something.
That's cool.
That was good.
Especially because at first I thought it was a blank box, which meant that it was the elf that you got. So
You got me. All right, for my real contestants though, so this is actually a gift. It's not like super retro or anything, but it will seem old school to some. This is a gift I got like 3 or so years ago now, and I'll tell you, it's, folks, an adjustable laptop stand. It's like the least glamorous toy and gift I've ever received, but I take it everywhere. And I've used this to like put up my my laptop stand. I've used this to put up like my Steam Deck. If I'm traveling, I'll put my Steam Deck on it and like use it to like set it up in front of me so I don't have to like lean and hunch while I'm doing stuff. Like this is my go-to, you know, ergonomics toy and tool for my life. So it's not glamorous, but it's super functional and I love it. And it keeps the heat, you know, for laptops, it reduces heat so the heat can get out, right? Like you don't overheat your device. Like
Nice.
It's made of metal. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can go up really tall.
Told them the Zoom. You know?
I signed up for these Zoom jokes. I signed up for this. This is on me. 100% on me.
Did it also go around your necklace? Like your neck? Sorry.
Like a millstone tied around.
Yes, that's an image. Yes, that's
Yeah.
Throw me into the ocean with it.
Yeah, you adjust at any angle. Even in the ocean, you can adjust and see your laptop outside. Well, it might not be that good for the laptop.
Periscope.
Yeah, exactly.
Down periscope.
Need a new laptop. This is
Here's the next one. So this is a twofold gift. It's actually served for one purpose more than its intended purpose. So folks, for what's on screen currently, it is a Nintendo Switch Joy-Con charging station. Again, a gift I got for Christmas a few years back. And on it are pictured 4 lovely little Joy-Cons charging their little lives out. That's great. I ironically don't play that much Nintendo Switch with other people, like in person. It doesn't happen often, so I don't really need the charging that often. In fact, there are times I unplug it. But what it has chosen to be in my life and has served my stubbed toes and my feet a number of great times is a night light on my first floor.
nice.
This little banner here, it emits so much green light that like if the lights are off on my first floor, it's up on a shelf. The entire floor is like it's like a Mission Impossible movie where you put like the green light on so you can see the lasers and this, like that's all over my first floor. It's so strong that it serves as a wonderful nightlight, and I don't get to stub my toes or anything anymore.
I mean, I heard you can get one that puts Spider-Man on your ceiling. So,
frankly, that would be an upgrade. Does your Spider-Man also charge your Joy-Cons? I need to know.
It doesn't, unfortunately. It does not have that functionality. That's but I think it's cool though that you have the ability to I mean, if you took those off, you could play like for days, right? Because you don't.
Oh yeah,
it's other people. We're good now. So I like it,
and it can charge so many. Like I would never run out of battery. I'd always have a Joy-Con ready to go. But it has served more to protect my toes than anything. So those are ours, folks. That's the whole lineup from Rodecaster, Rode Procaster, whatever, to Joy-Cons. We've got a whole set here. Now, I think the task for us is to organize these. I personally, there's a clear S tier winner in this group.
Well,
hands down.
Let's start with the crappiest. Okay,
crappiest.
Let's start from bottom and up. You know what I mean? Like let's
work from the bottom up.
So what do we think out of the technology everybody's been curious about? You know, these are clearly the 8 main items of tech the world has been like, should I buy this for somebody for Christmas? What do we think? No, the Zune doesn't even end up on the board. Okay, we'll drag the Zune on the board. It doesn't even deserve to be a part of the ratings. But I don't know. Maybe we can debate that later. But
I'm the one who added, 2 extra anyway. So I can't count. It's we'd like you to send us 2 technology. Yes, and I sent 4. So
no, that's perfect. We get more laughs this way.
We'll double rate.
Personally, my vote for like at least the Spider-Man is it's got to be like CD class. Like it's useful, Nightlight. It's quirky, Spider-Man, and it brings joy. You know, like I don't think it's quite useless, but it's definitely it's not an S tier for me.
You know, you're bringing up a good point, Will. We never really decided what we're rating this by, so I think
it's going to be all subjective today.
Yeah, I know, but here's my throw out. Okay, how useful is it? Okay, and does it bring joy? You know what I mean? Like these are the things we're rating about. So
then Zune should be S tier because Zune brought me a lot of joy.
No. It's not useful, but it just made you sad. Let's just be honest.
So I do have to say here that I'm not so sure that there's a usefulness that's at an S level for Spider-Man. All right, that's because I can tell you that he is fun and it is cool and it's awesome to have this nightlight. So he is useful that way. But I'm pretty sure that it's just cool to have it. I'm not sure that it is going to. Well, I guess it could stop you from stubbing your toes, but you know.
What do we think about a comfortable little C? He's a C tier. C's not bad. He's just
we can always adjust as we go.
There we go.
Yeah, I think there will be some negotiation.
We're all podcast hosts. We can do whatever the heck we want.
There you go.
I'm going to throw myself under the bus then because I don't think we should go in any specific order here. Like I picked as Spider-Man, but I'm going to throw out my monitor stand. I'm the nerdiest, quirkiest, geekiest person, so I love it. But while it's very functional, gents, what do you think? Where does the laptop stand go on this?
Yeah, it's tough because, Steve, would you agree? It's more useful than a Yoda.
Yes, very much so. Yeah,
right, and more useful probably than a Spider-Man light. But
I think so
does
too.
it really bring joy? You know what I mean? Like if that's sitting on the table and you're like just Santa's joy
Periscope
fill your heart. You know what I mean? When you look at that, I think it's the dividing factor right now.
I understand what you're saying because I got to tell you the usefulness that is extremely. I was sitting there trying to figure out what brand it was. I'm like, I might have to look that up after we.
I'll send it to
you because I got one right now that I'm using that it's not adjustable, right? And that would be really cool. But I'm not so sure that I'm going. Oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with my adjustable laptop. Dan.
Here's Steve. Let's let you be some of the final, at least, because debate here. If you open up Spider-Man on Christmas morning and you open up the laptop stand, which are you going to be more excited about? That's what we're gonna I think need to use for our judgment here. This is tough.
So just as a note, I mean, I'm a little biased here because Spider-Man is kind of like my thing. Even because if I open up Spider-Man, I'm going to have to sing Spider-Man, do whatever a spider can, spin a web any size, catch a thief just like flies, look out.
Here comes the Spider-Man.
You even know the words I don't even know, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So I think I'm hearing D. I think that's what our hearts are saying. I don't know if it's an E.
I accept.
But I think it might be a D. You know, if we were rating just laptop stands, Will, it would probably be an S.
S tier. S tier.
Yeah, but you're up against Spider-Man right now. I feel like it's a tough competition.
I wasn't going to put it below Spider-Man. I was saying maybe they're tied.
Ooh.
Maybe.
We'll hang on to D. We'll hang on to D. All right, Josh.
Okay.
We'll hang on there. Okay.
What are we doing next? Which one are we doing next, Josh?
Let's do the iPod.
Okay.
How do we feel about the iPod right now? Is it more exciting than Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Less exciting. Okay, we got it. Yeah.
It's at least a beer. It's a beer tier. I would like to add a tier for consideration. The beer tier.
Ooh, Oktoberfest episode. We need to write that down.
That's what we forgot. We need some polkas. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. we feel like that's better than Spider-Man. I know Steve, you really like Spider-Man, but
but if
music.
Now, if it was today and I opened the iPod that you're showing me, now it would be it might be a little problematic.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's.
Be like
We're
down
the
here in modern
the last
technology.
decade. The last decade. Okay. 10
what's
years
awesome
ago.
That is that all the music that you could put right there and just not have to turn the record over or the tape.
Plus that little scroll wheel.
Yes.
That was
I
satisfying.
love the click.
Little clicky scroll
Yeah.
wheel.
I'm happy with a B. I'm happy
Yeah.
with a B tier. I think it's a good place for it to be. It might get knocked around with our final
Yeah, it
contestants.
might.
We'll see. But
We'll see. But I think we're solid on B. B. I almost said beer again. I don't know why. This is a weird vibe that keeps happening.
Yeah.
Real quick aside story. I had a friend in high school, Steve, that had a 32 gig iPod, and the screen broke to the point that like you couldn't see anything, but he could still hear the clicks. So he memorized the clicks to his favorite songs, but he could only memorize so many. And one of the ones he memorized was the entire soundtrack of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So he could get to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and he had the entire soundtrack memorized. He could sing the entire thing, speak the entire thing from memory because he listened to it all the time.
That's awesome.
It was one of the few albums he remembered how to get to on his iPod.
That's awesome.
So it broke, but it was durable. Got it.
Exactly. Yeah, it was durable.
So I have to ask. So like one of my favorite scenes in that movie is Camelot. It's Camelot. Camelot. Tis the model. Oh, anyway, sorry. That's one of my favorite movies. I have a sign on my wall over here that I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction. Sign on my wall. It says Camelot this way and sudden death that way.
Let's go to Camelot.
That's actually a great sign to have in your office.
All right, Steve, what's on the chopping block next?
Yeah,
what should we go for?
What do you want to talk next?
All right, so let's go with how about the headphones?
Shock. All right.
Okay.
These things, Steve, you told us it brought you a lot of joy, which I respect.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. They also sound really functional. So this is a top-notch device in my opinion.
Thanks. I think so. I think it's pretty good. I think it's definitely better than Spider-Man. I can tell you that. So
would you put this in contest for S tier? Was this an S tier product to you, Steve?
Yes, I would.
Oh,
put it up in S tier. Okay.
Yeah, it's not quite a cube that you can wear on your neck, but
no. Matter of fact,
you're right. It's better. It's actually functional. It's not.
That's funny. What's really one of the things that's really cool is that unless people really notice that you're wearing it, they don't notice it. So you could actually pretend like you're paying attention to somebody.
Yeah.
Which you've never done with your wife ever, Steve. Right?
Ever done.
Never once.
Not once at all.
At all. And you definitely can't do that with a Spider-Man light. It's very obvious when you're using a Spider-Man light.
Yes, that would not work. That would.
Could you imagine mid-conversation, just somebody's telling you about something at work, Steve, and you just pull out a Spider-Man light, just turn it on.
Hold on 1 second, please.
It's fun.
It'd be better if it sang the song too. But
yeah.
Well,
he'd pull out his iPod next. So he could listen to the music, and then he'd put the light on top of his laptop stand. Really bring it home. So I'm gonna make an argument here for a second. I think tonight, guys, we can't have more than one item in S tier. I feel like there has to be a definitive winner tonight. So I'm not saying it moves.
Far.
I'm not saying it moves. I'm just saying.
But so
far,
this might
get a little heated soon.
This is the S-iest S-like product we've to discuss
whatever Will just said, I agree.
Nice.
I wouldn't do that. That's dangerous.
I understand that just because I'm nowhere in the room that you're going to take my thing and throw it out, but that's all right. I get it.
I don't know. I think you've got the contenders, Steve.
You might. All right, I'm not saying.
I'm gonna throw myself under the bus here because again, I brought apparently the dumbest toys. What do we think? What do we think about the Joy-Con / Nightlight? I'm willing to just dump it under the tree, but you tell me.
I think they're cool because first of all, I wasn't thinking about the nightlight part. I was thinking about you get to charge the little controllers, and those controllers are awesome because you can they're a little more. To me, a little more useful than some controllers where they're just hard to function with. But then you added the whole thing with the green nightlight. And I mean, you could have you could have the thought that the Incredible Hulk is starting to show up, or you could have that
The Green Lantern Corps.
exactly the Green Lantern Corps is showing up. No, we're not a Disney versus DC versus Marvel thing here. But yeah, oh yeah. So I mean, it's got some added functionality there. It's I like that, and it charges the chargers even if you're not using them.
You got it.
It is useful, and Joy-Cons bring joy. Literally, joy is in the
So-
word.
It's probably on par with an iPod, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going on a B tier. Steve, do you think it's B tier? Or you think it's a little bit higher?
I think it's B tier. I think it could be higher. It's
Oh no, I can't accept it being on A tier. It can't even be, able to slap, give a high five to the S tier. Like it's still just a charging station.
Yeah. As much as I love Spider-Man, I definitely think it's above Spider-Man because it does what Spider-Man does. It gives light.
yes,
But it also charges cons of joy. Like it also gives some power.
so it's a little like Electro.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's a little like
Going for Spider-Man villains.
but like
That's exactly.
like the good Electro, not the Sony version.
Yes.
Ugh. Ugh.
Like,
Steve, that's so sad. All right, Sportsy, what's up next? What do we got? What are you going to take on? 3 more options.
I feel like we got to figure out where Yoda goes before we hit up the PS2 on the road.
All right.
So
Personally, so much joy. Like A level joy, but it's definitely E level functionality.
and remember, he's listening. All right. So,
I mean, if we were using our Halloween rating scale with what you told us about the fact that he just starts speaking randomly, I'd put him on the haunted scale.
That's a little creepy. I gotta admit, just talking, and I'm torn on this because as a Star Wars fan, Steve, putting Yoda on the E scale feels like offensive. Like somebody should stab me with a lightsaber for doing that. You know what I mean? Like it's tough for me.
I understand, and no one would know that you like Star Wars. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not obvious at all.
Yes, not at all. Not at all.
No. Although
Josh
my
likes Star
lightsaber
Wars?
shut off.
Yeah, exactly.
Scoots across the room. And so Josh, listener, is scooting across the room to turn his lightsaber on. Josh has turned his lightsaber on.
There we go.
Nice. Yes.
Now we can hear it.
Now you can hear it. Okay.
There it is. Yes.
Put my hand off.
He cut his hand off. Well, you should be more careful. Practice safe lightsabering.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Only you can prevent dismemberment.
Does that mean we've got a D tie and a B tie right now? Do we got some doubled up?
Sure does look like that.
It's feeling
Looks
that way.
good. Looks good.
Well, I think.
All right. Go ahead.
I was going to say if joy versus usefulness, there's as much as I love my Yoda. All right. If I threw him at somebody, then it might have a new usefulness. Good conversation starter, by the way, though. Someone
There you go.
It's sitting over there and goes, "Is that Yoda?" I go, "Yes, it is." And unfortunately, depending on their age, they might say first, like you said, "Is that Baby Yoda?" First, and it's like, no. But I do understand if he found that.
So like a Nextel or a Nokia phone, he's more useful because he's threatening. He's dangerous to be wielded.
I don't know. He's
I'm okay
quite
with
as
this.
indestructible. I would like to point that out, but I can feel that out. It does mean, folks, that either the Road or the PS2 or something else that we put somewhere undeserving, it's going to have to go in the E rating.
Nice.
I'm just throwing it out there.
True.
Well, I can imagine that the PS the PS2
Dose.
brought lots of joy.
Oh,
And
it
it's
brought tons of joy.
You might, especially since you have the save card and you can continue playing whatever it is that you're playing.
A whole new world.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm no longer a Sony person, but I used to. This is the only Sony device I take that back. I had a PlayStation Portable. Yeah, the one you hold it. It was a little weird, like mini discs. But
Oh, the
besides
PSP.
that,
I was like, "What's a PlayStation Portable?" I only call it a
PSP.
PSP.
This is the only PlayStation device I've ever owned, and it was phenomenal. I spent so many hours playing Final Fantasy 7 and 9 and Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 and tons of other games on it. I mean, I'm very comfortable to put this in the A tier. I love myself a PlayStation 2.
That's cool. That's cool. I could see how much joy it brought you from the tone of your voice also, which is really cool.
Yeah.
By the way, aren't they into like, PlayStation 23 or something like that? No, I'm just kidding.
Five.
We're up to
PS5.
5 at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah. I mean, do you have a strong opinion, Steve? I mean, Josh, I know has played them. So what do we got, team?
Well, you're talking to someone who, even though I've played lots of other devices and such, from the Xbox to the PlayStation, to Sega, and but mine still it was in the Nintendo world. All right. And that's it's one of the things with the Nintendo world, especially if we go backwards in time to that first Super Nintendo box, talk about it took me forever to get past this one area in Batman. It's like, oh my gosh, how did not that I'm still angry about it, but
I don't sense that tone at all. You clearly let it go. That's, yeah.
Maybe
we should get you a new version, unless you still have your original, which wouldn't surprise me, and see if you can beat it these days.
Yeah. Maybe next year holiday episode.
We just play video games together.
We just play video games. Yeah, we play whatever old video games we can come up with.
That would be cool. I do have to tell you that it's funny when Nintendo has put in a I guess it's specifically for kids when they're playing with their parents game, because there's lots of these games where the person who is in the lead can put a bubble around the guy who's hanging out behind and can't figure out how to catch up and drag them through the scenes.
Yeah.
Not that I had a lot of experience with that.
Not that.
Hey, I was just
Were you the person dragging or being drugged?
Being drugged, yeah. Being drugged. I mean, yes, I'm the one putting the bubble. It's like, come on, Dad, we're going. Let's go.
This way.
Wow. Anyway.
Well, I mean, I guess what it comes down to is the road, Steve, your road mixer here.
Well, I can tell you it brought me lots of joy, and it has incredible functionality. And so to me, it would probably knock those headphones down a notch or two, but yeah, I know.
I was thinking this. I mean, this just feels right, like all of us are podcasters. You have one. Josh and I drool over them and would love to have them.
Yeah.
Rode, if you're listening, sponsors were very welcome. Inbox at hitechpod.us. It's not the first time we've made that joke. Steve, what's your email address?
This is StephenMiletto@gmail.com.
There you go. If you need us, Rode, we're here for you. Not that we want you to be here for us, but then this is pretty acceptable. I think we do need to find the E tier. Who is going to end up?
So I have a proposal. I have a proposal, right? The Zune can serve one last purpose. It can finally find the purpose it was meant to have. Will, it can finally do something worthy this holiday season, which is it could be our E tier. You know what I mean? It could be the E tier. What do you think? What do you think, Steve?
What a gift!
I think it works well. It balances out the tree. That's and it's still not below the tree, so it's good.
Yeah,
amazing.
And it's less useful than a laptop stand. I mean, definitely. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could barely play music back in the day. Like, and you definitely couldn't hold a laptop.
Hey, I listen to a lot of music on my Zune.
I just
I like this lineup. I think it works. It's a couple of laughs, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it works very well. I think that's very nice. It makes for a nice tree, and it all works good.
Yeah.
And,
what I also noticed is Steve brought some themes. Steve brought the highest, the heaviest hitters, the road and the thing. And Steve also got the C class. You know, you nailed two things there, Steve.
thanks.
I'm also noticing another theme. Most of Will's are at the bottom of the tree.
That's funny.
I love him.
He's
They
got
bring
that.
me great joy.
Nice.
It's true. It's well, there you go, folks. The definitive list. If you haven't finished your Christmas shopping yet, which is you're probably like me who waits to the last second. Here's your list.
Christmas.
Okay, a road mixer, PlayStation 2, headphones, play music in your bones, an iPod 32 gig from the early 2000s, a Joy-Con charger that really is more useful as a nightlight, a stuffed Yoda, a Spider-Man light, a laptop case, and then for that uncle that you hate, a Zune.
Savage. So mean. So mean.
It is mean. The Zune is, I think it's walking off the screen. It's like, well, fine, I'll go find somebody else. But anyway.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Oh man.
That's perfect. This is perfect. Like last year, we found some things that could help folks out and definitely, I think, encourage them. That was a good time. Oh, I went to a 2-person, left Josh out, and then I missed. Okay, now we're great. That was like mix and match, folks. If you weren't listening, I just messed the screen up. It was fun. But last year we got pretty practical. This year, definitely a lot of laughs and some memory lane, thinking about all the things we have and haven't gone through. All the more, though, brought together and unified by the Golden Pipes himself, Stephen Miletto, our friend up and above me somewhere.
You're too kind. You're too kind. This was fun. I appreciate you inviting me back. This was a lot of fun. And, and maybe sometime in spring, our teams will decide to play ball again. And
we'll just have a baseball episode. I'll come on your podcast and we'll talk about baseball. How about that? Let's do that.
You were talking about sports. I was like, what do you mean teams, Steve? We're both not that cool. We don't have like media teams, And Steve's like trying to make it sound like we're like real pro, I will say real quick, Steve, before we get too far into the end, I did want to do one thing. We joked about an award. Most appearances. Steve Miletto.
Hey!
Most appearances on the HiTech Podcast.
Thank you.
Put
Thank
that on your LinkedIn, your resume.
That can go on my website too. I appreciate I accept this award, and on behalf of the
I was looking at our sound effects for clapping. Apparently we don't have clapping, which is sad, but we'll have to add that in the future.
In 2025, I guess.
What a novelty.
That would be cool. We should throw
what I do know is if we end up going for like an Easter episode, we can bring the Zune back because it will have risen again, right? It'll be the whole idea of tech coming back from the dead. No,
Teresa doesn't.
Zombie tech.
The Zune doesn't go away; it just reappears. Yes, that's
again and again and again.
Nice.
All right. So much fun. Thank you, Steve. We'll be in touch for whatever the next shenanigans is we come up with. And for folks listening on Teaching Learning Leading K12, thank you for enjoying our laughs and our huff, if you will. Head over to our website if you want to check out this full episode and see the screen stuff. But of course, I hope you've enjoyed listening to our shenanigans. So until next time, we thank you as always for joining us, Steve.
I greatly appreciate you having me. This has been fun. This has been a blast. And everybody out there in the HiTech Podcast land, make sure you go to their website because they have some really cool stuff happening there and can help you in your tech world. So good stuff. And this has been fun, guys. And hey, maybe one time we can do a Star Trek versus Star Wars or maybe the sci-fi land, type of.
We could rate Star Wars, Star Trek tech against each other.
There we go. Yeah.
That's the next big debate that everybody's been waiting for.
Yes, exactly. Nothing better than a food replicator. All right, so that's Star Trek world.
You have my attention.
Nice.
All right, we'll take a second here, and Josh and I will wrap up for the end of this episode.
Oh man, okay, that is. I love Steve. Steve, I love when you're on the podcast, man. I know you're listening probably to this last end. So
thank you, Steve,
again for being a part. The Golden Pipes never fail. They never fail. That was a good time. And we've, as the HiTech Podcast promises, we've helped all of you figure out the most modern tech. But there's a couple of good things in there. That Rode, if you have a friend who does any podcasting or streaming, the Rode setup.
A really good friend that you love a lot because they're not cheap. Which, if that friend happens to be us, I was going to say,
those listening to this podcast,
subscription.
there are some who listen to our podcast that are friends of ours, like Robin, if you're looking to drop a work friend a gift, just a few suggestions. It's great as always. I think there's not much because it's not an informational episode or a breakdown, but love having you on, Steve. It's always a great time. And again, just a reminder, if you go to StephenMiletto.com, you can check out Steve's podcast and a lot of other stuff from Steve. He is a great guy, and most of the time he comes on the podcast now, it's our chance for all three of us just to have fun instead of doing educational things like all of us do normally on our podcast. But definitely check out his podcast because there's so much good material on that podcast, especially if you're teaching in K12 or leading in some form or fashion. Steve is a wealth of knowledge. Some of his earlier episodes on the podcast, he really leans into that and shares that. So definitely check out his podcast at StephenMiletto.com to hear him. So, plus Golden Pipes. That's all you gotta say. That if any man was made to podcast, it is Stephen Miletto. There's zero doubt about that. Anyway, on that note, folks, that is a wrap to not just an episode, but to basically a year. This will be launching for you right before Christmas, right before the holidays in December. And so we just want to wish you guys a happy holidays. I hope your holidays are filled with wonderful joy, no Zunes, and maybe, some gifts from the century, something like that. I don't know. Somewhere along those lines. We're going to be taking a break here for a bit. The HiTech Podcast will be coming back early January, right after New Year's. We'll be back up and running. So we don't know what's coming next yet for you on those episodes. So I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is it's going to be great.
Always. We've actually met the limit of our abilities to plan. We actually usually have the podcast planned out quite far in advance. In fact, we're recording this episode not in December, but it's fine because
part of the reason we don't know is because we're recording it very early because Steve and our schedules could only really align here at this early place. But we have lots of ideas for the new season and new episodes that will be coming out in 2025. So you definitely want to look out for that because there's some cool stuff coming, cool series ideas, cool episodes planned. We were only half joking about Star Wars stuff. There might be some Star Wars ideas coming along the pike in 2025. And some really cool stuff just from the HiTech Podcast and Harness Tech as well. We're really excited for the new year in 2025 for what we're setting up and bringing together. We got some cool stuff that we're going to be sharing. So make sure to come back and check us out. If you're a listener to the HiTech Podcast and you have not listened to every episode, this break is a perfect time to go on over to hitechpod.us and check out some old episodes. You know what I mean? During this time, we should have been releasing old episodes for you as recommended tech of the month of TechSmith or the advent of TechSmith, however we've decided to package it for you at this point. So you want to check that out. And you can check out some of those old episodes and hit us up. Again, just a reminder, you can find us on all the socials at HiTech Podcast or at HiTech Pod, depending on where it's at. You can also email us inbox at hitechpod.us if you have a thought, you want to share that idea, you have a topic you'd love for us to talk about. You're like, Josh, Will, I really want to know how you set up a PS2. No, that's a dumb topic. Don't send us that topic, but send us other topics. I was running out of ideas. But if you have something you want us to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to be on the podcast, whether you're from a company you want to be on the podcast or you just have a cool topic or idea you want to talk about, that's how many people end up on the HiTech Podcast. It's just they have a cool topic, they email us about it. Will and I are like, sure, why not? And then they jump on. You know what I mean? So it's not that hard. You can hit us up at inbox at hitechpod.us to do that. And then just a reminder, we have a website, hitechpod.us, where we put all of our episode pages and information and links to resources. We'll link out to the tech we talked about today, maybe. Because we all know you're looking to buy that 32 gig iPod.
This is the Wikipedia page for Zune or something.
I'm not going to link out to Zune. That'd be ridiculous. But I'll link out to the other stuff. But no, you can check it out. Every time we talk about a tool or resource or website or whatever on the HiTech Podcast. We usually try to do a good job of putting that up on our episode pages, so you can check that out as well. Okay, folks, that's a wrap on another week, on another year. I felt like I was going to say something else after that, but I'm not.
On another season?
On another season. Empowering minds.
Embracing tech.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, you have been listening to Teaching, Learning, Leading K12, a podcast to help you help kids achieve their dreams. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12 is a member of the Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12 is a member of the podcast network based in Canada called Voice Ed Radio. Voice Ed Radio, your voice is right here. The opinions expressed on Teaching, Learning, Leading K12 are those of the guests and host. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12 is intended to share ideas, advice, and suggestions. Teaching, Learning, Leading K12 is produced for educational purposes. Hey, thanks for listening. It would be awesome if you visited my website at stephenmiletto.com and connected with me, left a review, and listened to more episodes. And by the way, you could also share it with your friends, with your family, and your colleagues. Thanks so much. You're awesome.